Welcome to Out of Home Insider, the loudest voice in out of home. It's funny. A lot of people stop and ask me, they say, Tim, what's that mean? What does it mean to be the loudest voice in out of home? A lot of folks assume it has something to do with being louder than other industry trade coverage. It actually has nothing to do with anyone other than the community that is out of home. Whether you're a big operation, a small operation, have unique marketing insights, or a ton of out-of-home expertise, this is a platform to help the community grow, the community to learn. So I invite you to subscribe, follow, share. Please do all those things that help the community of out-of-home grow through this podcast, through the amazing guests that we have. It's all about democratization. And that's one of the reasons I'm most excited to be a part of the team at OneScreen.ai, where we're bringing buyers and sellers together to help brands win. If you want to learn more about what we're doing at OneScreen, visit onescreen.ai. Without further ado, let's go.
Welcome, everybody, to the Out of Home Insider Show, a podcast like no other, hosted by the one and only Tim Rowe. Get ready to have some knowledge dropped on you and to be entertained, because nothing's more valuable than food for your brain. So sit back, relax, we're about to dive in as the best industry podcast is about to begin.
Damn it, I wish I had pressed record.
Yeah, no worries.
So yeah, man, the really like the format of the show is kind of like I kid that it's like Joe Rogan for out of home, but it's really just that. It's a conversation. It's a platform for you to promote what you do, bank creativity, 1 minute brief. Like out of home suffers from a creative problem. The people that use it creatively do a marvelous job, but a lot more people just treat it as like, oh, it's like a display ad, but on a stick. They don't take advantage of the beauty that out of home can create with great creative. But like that's your specialty, right? Like that's what y'all do, is come up with really creative stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think 1 minute briefs lends itself to out of home because essentially, whether it's on or offline, you're just creating one standalone piece of content and it needs to grab someone's attention within seconds. And it's the same. It's always been the same. To be honest, out of home has always been my favourite medium working as a creative in the industry, with a graphic design background and just a way of communicating something very quickly and effectively. And I think that if you can nail down an idea into billboard form, then that becomes a big idea, which you can then translate into TV and social campaigns, radio, etc. I think if you can get your big idea into one billboard, that's your core thought, really. And I've always tried to do it like that, not just through OMB, but actually when I've been working in industry, try and refine that idea down into one billboard, and that's why I love the medium so much myself. And 1 minute briefs is good for that as well, because people can rely on their instincts, and because you rely on your instincts, it makes for a simpler ad that people relate to as well. Because we all
Since you brought that up, let me. I'm going to share. I have the production team that I don't have. There's no production team, but I've started pretending like there is. I want to bring up the Kit Kat campaign because that's the one that I think everybody saw and got excited about, and there's a little bit of magic behind that campaign that I'd love for you to talk to a little bit. It should be up on the screen now, but this Kit Kat campaign was a 1 minute brief.
Yeah, well, it started life as it was on a Monday. I was thinking sometimes when we don't do a full-on brand brief, it was actually advertised #your favourite chocolate bars. And Sam Hennig, the creator of this one, decided to do. In fact, I think this was initially when it was first created was Cadbury's.
Oh, no kidding!
They're milk blocks, yeah, and because it was just a spec idea, and then a creative director got involved and said, "Well, it works really well with have a break, have a Kit Kat." So it was then changed into that, and then posted out there, obviously through 1 minute briefs, and then it's just one of those things that just got taken, just took off. Within a couple of hours, it was on Adweek, Ads of the World, in likes of New York and things, and it was all over LinkedIn, and I remember it exploding.
Blew up, right? 30. I did the little Google search there. 32,000 results on Google covering the Kit Kat Zoom campaign. That's crazy. But it started out as an idea on Twitter, and folks started putting ideas in, and then this hatched, and it went up to absolutely haptic.
It happened with a Guinness advert as well previously that went on Adweek. It's good that you've done the Google search. I've not even thought about doing that, but to see it on 32,000 searches is incredible, really. I knew it was big. We've seen it on LinkedIn, and people were tagging it in. But also, in some ways, people get a bit worried when they don't get credited. But myself and Sam, the initial creator, were quite happy that it was just being shared without people knowing where it's from and stuff, because it's just an idea that people wanted to show their mates, basically. So when you get into something like that, then that's where it can go viral. Just like the Guinness stay-at-home campaign did. But both of them were so simple that you get it within a split second and you share it, and it's almost like meme-like. Yeah. I mean, it's great to see. It's great to see that you've Googled it. And,
oh yeah, certainly, because we love showing it off to, especially to new advertisers, to out of home, that it doesn't have to be your logo and a phone number and a website address and like all this crap. Like, you could just take advantage of the contextual moment, keeping it super simple. What do you think? What's the key to keeping it simple?
Not overthinking. I think, in the industry, I've had people. I mean, I did a billboard for jelly pots a long time ago, and I remember the brand wanting to do half the page as the logo, literally half the page, and we'd spent quite a lot of money on photography to create this stunning visual that would stand out, and yeah. Suddenly you want to read it, and as a creative, this is going to make it not anywhere near as standout. I mean, there's probably arguments to say having the logos bigger is better for brand recall, but if you can create, if you look at that Kit Kat one, I don't think it even has a logo on that cat. It's right.
It's literally just the product. It's not a product in a package. It is the literal product after you take it out, and it's kind of right. It's the same color, but you know what it is.
Yeah.
Right. Like, give me a break. It's Kit Kat. Like, it just makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. So sometimes less is more, and obviously they've got a lot of brand value already, which you can utilize, whereas other brands might not be able to have that. But if you can, the way we've done it with, because we partner with Clear Channel on various briefs around the UK, and the way we've done it with them is communicate a message in 5 words or less. And those briefs are amazing because it refines it straight down. And also, because people do mock their ideas up on 1-minute briefs, but when you literally give someone 1 minute, more often than not, you actually come up with something better than you'd thought of. We don't claim to change the world or anything.
So the process prevents overthinking the problem.
Yeah. And you don't have, obviously people will want to put telephone numbers and websites and things on, but if you can distill it down, and also if you don't nail it in that 1 minute, just do it again and again. And then if there's a few of you doing it, which is collectively shown through OMB, is that because we obviously reward winners and things, the quality is often there. And, some people leave it in their mind throughout the day as they're going along, and something will come to them. Or I often say, I did something for Ladbrokes. I don't know if you have Ladbrokes over there, but I just changed the word into broke lads and did it for a gambling aware company. Just that simple, just post it out and it gets its shareability. And I think, and also the general public, I think people or brands think that don't give the public the credit that they deserve, because people do just get it, that people think that they need to be told and completely explained to, but they don't. If someone just gets made to laugh or feel sad, by just a couple of words, that's all you need to do. Then they'll look at where it's from. That it's when you've got loads of stuff all over the place, or you don't know what it even means. A lot of the time you're driving past or walking past, you don't have time. But if it grabs you, you think, oh, look at that. Even if it's just, oh, that's good.
Right. Just a moment of surprise and delight. And like, that's the power of out of home. It's the only place where you can create that contextual experience in the real world. In this moment in time, how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling as I'm passing a bus shelter, as I'm passing a billboard, it's only ever going to exist one time right now. Yeah. This is the moment you have that opportunity to create an impact. And if you waste it on bad creative, well, I don't know what to do.
It's just that little raising a slight smile or something, and it's just then it's in your head. It's just you don't think it's there, but you've seen it. And there was an example. There was one thing I got taught at university with my tutor, who used to like to push my buttons a bit, and because I was quite calm and relaxed, and used to try and work me up a bit. And I was entering this billboard thing for Berghaus into awards. And he said, and I was really happy with it. And he said, it's all right. It's not going to win. Like, what? He said, it won't win. Like, okay. He said, go and sit with him over there. Turn that idea into an award-winning one. It was typographic. It was unexplored. And the positive name was coming out of the thing. Like, right, okay. Anyway, we had the positive word with the billboard up against a mountain, and the positive word looked like it was on the mountain in the background. It was just stuck up to the billboard.
Oh, that's slick.
Yeah, and then put the footprints of the trainer on the floor where you should view it from. And suddenly it had gone from being an okay build, and now I look back on that and I actually think, I always reflect back on that time at university. If I'm coming up with an idea or something, is this just an okay piece of work, or is it one of those things that people take pictures of and share on Twitter and things? So always trying to go that bit further, but that's just a lesson that goes back to what we've just said about that moment, like, oh, that's good, or I might take a picture of it. If not, we can't get people taking pictures of everything. You can't always nail something, but you can just do something that's nice, can't you? That really that isn't what you'd expect.
Yeah, and there's so much focus, in the marketing world around data and measurement and targeting and all these other things that if the creative sucks, none of it matters, right? Like, oh, my targeting was perfect. Yeah, but your creative stinks. No one cared. Right. So your measurement's perfect, but it always comes back to creative. Nick, because we kind of dove right in at the beginning there, maybe just back up a little bit and just tell the audience who you are, who 1 Minute Briefs are. I'm bringing it up on the page, who Bank Creativity is, and ultimately how you work with brands to bring campaigns to life. Folks have seen the Kit Kat campaign, but I'm sure they'd love to learn more about you and Bank Creativity 1 Minute Briefs and how y'all work with brands.
Yeah, sure. Well, my name's Nick Entwistle. I'm the creative director and founder of the Bank of Creativity and 1 Minute Briefs. The Bank of Creativity is more of a traditional agency model. However, it's still very much community-led, and the 1 Minute Brief side of things has almost outgrown it in terms of following. So we've got 33,000 followers on Twitter, along with quite tens of thousands on all various other channels as well. The way it works is at the start of every weekday, we'll set a brief. Sometimes it's just fun or for causes, and also sometimes it's for brands as well. And it's never changed. I started off at university. I had about 7 weeks on a graphic design brief and didn't do anything for 5 weeks. Just sat on YouTube, and you know how it is. And me and my creative partner at the time just procrastinated and things. And one day we set up this thing called 1 Minute Briefs and started doing them on we actually started them off on Photoshop. People start laughing at them. at what we're doing, and more often than not, you actually do something really good that you'd never ever have thought of if you had an hour or a day. And then we took it to Twitter, I think about 2012, and it has just grown organically since. That over-the-shoulder looking thing like we had in university comes from when people respond, they're also posting to their own followers. So organically, people want to get involved. So let's say we do a brief. Yeah, as you can see on the scrolling thing there, we're doing a brief today with the Met Office who do all the weather stuff in the UK for a climate change conference. I'm giving away a £200 cash prize. So we're giving away prizes each day when we work with brands as well. And yeah, we're getting hundreds of submissions, different creative outputs, and we're also only asking for a minute of people's time. People do Photoshop them up, but as you can see, they're quite simple thoughts that look like they could be billboards quite easily.
Sure.
Only a few.
And this is kind of like, it's like a crowdsourced approach to creative. These folks don't necessarily work for you. They're just creatives on Twitter that follow you that can jump in and submit an idea. Is that how it works? Yeah.
It's free at the point of access to absolutely anyone in the world. So there's people all over the world getting involved. Giving away prizes. It was never intended to be like a crowdsourced thing as such, but it's just grown where, first and foremost, it's grown as a community of people building portfolios, careers, contacts, confidence, that type of thing. And it's always been the exact same thing, always to create an advert, just like it always was when we started it off. But if we can make it a bit more commercial, I mean, I spend so much time on it over the years and had to quit my job completely for it. And I have to try and earn a living from it. So then we're able to give more and more prizes, and the more and more brands that see that we're doing huge reach for brands on 1 minute briefs alone, that's almost self-promotion for other brands to want to get involved. And obviously signing partnerships with Clear Channel and Met Office, Marmite, Pringles, all this continues to escalate and keeps us growing. And the engagement and reach just keeps growing as well, to the point where we can do stuff internationally too. And I don't know if you've seen, did one recently with WWF, which had reach of 500 million.
Wow. And from one minute brief, 500 million people reached.
Yeah, the initial,
before the campaign's even born into the wild and put into the real world.
This one, what came from a 1 minute brief, and it was one of those things. It was, again, the simplicity of thought. It was someone called Z Anwar did an idea to take the animals off sports team badges. And I don't know, is it on this one?
No, just giving it a little bit of an example of some of the reach that you have for some perspective there.
Exactly, yeah. So we did a brief with the WWF, and it actually didn't even win the brief, this idea, because it wasn't quite on brief. But if you can imagine, a lot of brands and sports teams have animals in the logos. Mm-hmm. So taking them off, really nice post. It's going to get a lot of retweets and shares in its own right. But then I thought, wait a minute. Imagine if some of these brands did that on a particular day. That could be massive. Even if one brand did it.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking, what if Twitter took the bird off? Or national sports teams do it and all that. WWF themselves have the panda, which was harder than you'd think to get them to take it.
Yeah, sure.
Even though we ran it with them. So, but that simple thought and just having the knowledge to turn it into something bigger, we were able to work with WWF and started contacting teams and brands, almost just asking people the question, will you do this? Mm-hmm. And and a few people did. And then when we knew that we were getting a few people, we could tell other people, these lot are doing it. Will you do it?
Now we're starting to get some critical mass.
Yeah. And then now, hopefully World Wildlife Day again next year, we'll go again, asking the same people, but then get loads more, and maybe even take it into the physical world, potentially an out of home, potentially actually taking animals out of signage and things in shops and sports stadiums or anything. So it could be a thing that starts with a 1 minute brief that just escalates into the real world. And that's happened a few times on briefs as well.
So Nick, give our listeners the skinny. You will work with brands, with agencies, with media partners. You'll work with just about anybody. How do they work with you? How do they get in touch? What's your latitude and longitude? And how do they work with y'all?
Yeah, well, a lot of people just get in touch with us directly through Twitter on DM, so at 1 minute briefs. Otherwise, mainly through the website, bankofcreativity.co.uk, or emailing interest@bankofcreativity.co.uk. The way it works is essentially you get to take over the feed for the entire day, and it's all about your brand. We're often trending on Twitter, and sometimes we work with an existing hashtag which we can help make trend or is already trending, and we can trend alongside it. Otherwise, we just make our own. The accumulative effect of people responding to the brief creates something. If you get so many tweets in a day and a hashtag, you're likely to get into trending territory. Because the content itself is very shareable, quick, it's the type of stuff that people want to start sharing, as we've said, in the sort of billboard style. And then that has an effect as well. So if one entry starts to generate lots of retweets, that gets us into trending territory as well. So you essentially just get in touch with us. We don't need much to start a brief off. We just need a blurb about what you want to sort of promote or what cause it is, along with logo and social links. And then we pretty much just put it on the website, and then we set it off on the day and then give prizes to the winners. So it's a really simple thing to do with minimal resource for brands to get involved in. But the reach is just, it was never intended to be like this, but it is. I mean, it's like that OMB produce however many ideas. When the brand receives it, they get all those ideas at the same time, and we retweet it to all our followers. And then the brand can share as many as they want. In the normal process, you'll probably work with an agency. You'll never have that public reach in the first instance. And you'll be able to share one piece of content on your own channel. It'll get a few retweets, obviously, but in this process, you're getting a mass social reach campaign, as well as generating loads of great instinctive ideas as well. So it's win-win for everyone involved, which is nice. And for our community, it's nice for people to work on brands and get involved. And a lot of the brands enjoy just getting involved on social, sharing gifts and all that. So
yeah, I can't wait to have somebody to be able to do it with. I've got a few ideas on folks that we're working with over at One Screen, and I think it's a great way to, because most of these ideas, they never get past like the creative director's desk, right? Like they die on the cutting room floor. Here, at least, like you could almost split test it, right? Like it becomes a quasi A/B test of like, what do people like? What's resonating? I've got all of this content, all of these things going on. That's good for your brand. And especially to have people engaging and getting to play with the parts of maybe things that weren't accessible to them otherwise. I'm sure you have lots of young budding artists that wouldn't normally get to work on like big iconic brands at this stage in their careers. But this is a place, and there's great ideas like the one that you described with the World Wildlife Federation. Nick, I think what you're doing is pretty special. The community aspect we particularly love, because that's a goal of ours here at Out of Home Insiders, to just create a community where anybody has a voice on a level playing field.
Yeah, No, absolutely. I think what you've just touched upon there is important, and actually being able to gauge what is engaging. What you think is what you put out there as a brand, you might think is the best thing for you. But if you look at the actual engagement on certain posts, last week, someone chose a winner, and I looked at the winner, and well, there was a decision between two winners. And one really liked this thing, and it was quite branded, and it was nice. It worked for the brand, but it was okay. I looked at it and didn't feel anything. I looked at the other choice. It had nearly 100 likes, retweets, or whatever, compared to the other one that had about 2 or 3. So, and that one was the real winner, if you know what I mean. But you look at it in the most simple thought. And I think sometimes as brand managers, you can be clouded in your own judgment in that works for us. But what if you did something really simple and stand out that you might not expect? It can still work, be branded, but I like that. And the way OMB works is that you gauge how people interpret your own brand.
Yeah. What you think might be totally different than what the audience thinks. How frequent that happens all the time. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, and it's a good way to be able to do that and actually stand back and look what people think and the way that they come up with stuff, rather than putting out your own voice that people may not relate to.
It's a great litmus test for any brand. Nick, I really want to thank you. I know we're coming up to the top of the hour here, and you've got more 1-minute briefs to get out there into the wild. So I want to thank you. We'll make sure to link everything for folks to get in touch with you to do their own 1-minute brief below. Really appreciate you being here today.
Nice one. Thanks very much for having me.
Absolutely. If you found this to be helpful, interesting, please share it with somebody else who could benefit. As always, make sure to smash that subscribe button down there in the corner, and we'll see y'all next time.
Quarter century, I finally came to my senses. I finally got my hand up on the tinted Benz, kid. I see the world clear through my tinted lenses. With the dream and the drive, the possibilities endless. Now print that, send this all the way to Tokyo. Take a trip down south, down to Mexico. Next stop, Shanghai, the world-class trade show. First class all the way, cause that's how we roll. Yeah, call us the rock star businessman. Rockin' shows, we handle business, man. We got our own future in the palm of our hands, cause divided